Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody, and welcome from Yes, I Am the Veteran. I'm your host, Brandy, and I actually am waiting on Melissa. She'll pop up here in a minute. But in the meantime, we have our awesome guest, Mike Damon, and we are super excited to have him come on and talk about VetUnite tonight. And we'll catch up with Melissa when she pops back on. It's been a wild week for me, but, I was actually just featured in a magazine I called it from France. They said that I was featured as a person in Women in Weed. I was like, what? That's a thing? But it's pretty cool. But let's go ahead and talk about you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what kind of got you into the realm of mentoring?
26-year veteran. I retired out of the Army, out of my State National Guard. Started in the Marine Corps. And what started me in mentoring was I was working on a project with a buddy of mine, and then we were traveling across country on our motorcycles. And he went to visit some of his veteran friends, and so did I. We had gone our separate ways at one point, and we saw these guys were just not doing well. A lot of them, and a lot of them, there were similarities between the struggles that they had and other veterans that we had helped in some of our other nonprofit work. So then it just kind of took off from there. That was probably 4.5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. We ended up doing 32,000 miles in 3 years on 2 wheels.
That's a lot of miles. Like, nobody really thinks about it, but on a bike, it is totally different traveling than in a car. Like,
yeah, it's challenging and it's not challenging in unusual kind of ways. Obviously, it's physically challenging, which driving a car really it can be, depending on how you are. But it's extremely challenging on a motorcycle to go more than 400 miles, and we were averaging 600 to 700 a day.
really?
So we did the first trip we did was 15,000 miles in 15 days, so something like that, or 8,700. I can't remember the numbers. They're just astronomical numbers. And we visited like 32 veterans the whole time we did our first trip, and we did 2 more times, and we're set to do it again this year in August.
So you basically rode out to meet veterans, like, or was it for
Yeah,
veterans?
he runs an organization he calls Task Force Vet Visits, and what he does is at-risk veterans or veterans that are in secluded areas. Like we went up to Wisconsin, North Wisconsin.
And that's important because in Wisconsin, there's like one facility, and it's in the Twin Cities, and then like very far south or something, and it's really not accessible.
Yeah, and that's what we ended up doing. I mean, we even went to Colorado, Kansas. We did 2. Every time we do it, we do a loop. We do a southern passage or a northern passage. So we did 15. We average about 15 to 20 states in 15 days on bikes. So it's a physical challenge for us. But what you see the reaction of veterans when you visit them is, especially if they've been secluded for a long time, it's obviously it's an emotional time. A couple guys we got into services that really desperately needed help, just by calling on them. You can't assess somebody unless you see them face to face, or it's very difficult.
It's easy to hide stuff, especially if you know kind of the general. You can get by the VA basic words and things to say that will get you by. I mean, a lot of veterans, they really don't realize, that they need to be around each other. That fellowship really is important.
Yeah, that's part of my book. That's one whole chapter in my book. It's peer support. So,
yeah, your book itself. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Like, how long have you been writing it? Like, when did you kind of get started?
I started about 1.5 years ago. About that, I sent it out for peer review. It's in rewrite right now. So I gave you a pre-release copy. Yeah, and it touches on a lot of the things that we don't realize as veterans, and it took me years to realize it. Of some of the unique challenges we have as veterans. Every demographic or every group has its unique challenges, and veterans do. And it's the places that some places fall through, like the VA falls through on. We try to fill in those gaps. And I try to do that. That's how I wrote my book. I wrote it as a guide so that you can sit down with somebody and they can go through, and you can have accountability to yourself and to other person and do that kind of stuff. and it's really simple concepts.
Yeah,
You know,
it looks kind of like a checklist too. So I mean, some of us
Yeah.
that are very visual, it's very helpful.
yeah, and you saw it. I wrote it to look like a military manual, just kind of a spoof. You know, there is some humor I try to put into it.
I mean, and also just like that fellowship with people that have PTSD, like you really tend to isolate yourself. And for you to be around others that can understand and not judge you, it means a lot.
It does mean a lot. The PTSD, everything that we know is our preconceived notions of what they are.
Yep.
My idea of PTSD was what my uncle went through from Vietnam, and I didn't exert any of those symptoms that he had, so I didn't think I really had that bad of PTSD. It wasn't until my life fell apart that I realized how much really was associated with PTSD.
Yep.
I didn't know how to take care of myself either.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you don't have the support system around you, family, friends, whatever, it's even harder. And then when this was all going down, when I started having problems, one of my good friends committed suicide, and he was a mentor to me. So I dedicated my book to him because it was such a shock to our community that he had committed suicide. He was actually the toughest guy I've ever met in my life. I never saw him eat food or drink water. I went on 2 tours with him, yeah. But he couldn't take it anymore. It was he was very as I realized later I was very sleep deprived. You know, even if you lay your head down and your eyes are closed, it doesn't mean you've had good rest. So,
absolutely. I mean, getting good rest with PTSD, those two usually don't go together.
No, they don't. And that's part of like the first part of my book, which is self-care, is pointing out those things now as we've gone through them that they're obvious to us. When the VA first gave me medicine to sleep, I figured out I hadn't slept in 6 years. I had forgotten what sleep was.
It feels weird, right?
Yeah. It was incredible. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. They called me a few days later. I'm like, I actually slept. That was amazing. So stuff like that, those epiphanies. And when people go through the struggle themselves, and then we start talking these languages, you know, of like, hey, how do you sleep, brother? You know, sister, you know, how you feeling? Oh, this and that. And you go, hey, you know, there's this over here that works for that. And I don't have any hobbies. Well, if you don't have a hobby and you're a veteran in this day and age, you're gonna have 4 or 5 before the month's out. If you're not careful.
5 or 7, 7 or 11.
Yeah.
And so
everything like you were talking off camera, and you were saying, what was it? Oh, the forging of knives. Yeah. You know, we got a fly fishing tying, and there's a great place I'd like to plug. It's Camp Freedom, and it's in Pennsylvania, northern Pennsylvania.
Heard about it.
And they actually raise their own elk and deer for veterans to come hunt there. Incredible.
So, that's amazing.
It's like 830 acres, all for veterans.
Awesome.
Yeah. I went there twice.
The knife making class I go to, once you complete it, you become an alumni and you get to go into all their hunts. And they know a lot of people that have is amenable just to veterans. So it's like a network basically you get rolled into. Yeah. And that's how I was able to go hog hunting last weekend. We went spear hog hunting. Yep. Yes. A video. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. We actually, I ended up donating the meat because we found 2 sows. And then I went with one girl. She was an amputee, and they actually battlefield carried her out to her hog. And I have video of that, and that was amazing because it was just like the brotherhood. Like he just like slung her across his back, and he just kept going. Like he didn't even stop. Like it was cool to see. Like just like, you know, he had her 6, and I love that. But yeah, we donated the meat to homeless women veterans, and then like a woman that was having a bit of a hard time, single mom. So I can understand. So I definitely wanted to help. So we donated the sow meat so they could have some good eating.
That's awesome. So that ties into two parts of my book, and one of them is that you have to be around other people with like minds, no matter what obstacle you come in your life. You have to be surrounded with people that understand how you talk and how you think. And the thing with veterans is we have a very, very unique culture. And it's hard to realize sometimes actually how unique it is. Vietnam veteran came by our shop today and started talking to me, and it was already right into the banter, and he was from a totally different era, from Vietnam.
Yep.
The other thing is finding these new things to find enjoyment. Finding enjoyment can be very difficult if you have PTSD. Very challenging. When I run across guys, I always ask them, what are your struggles? What are you looking for? And all that. A lot of them didn't even have hobbies, didn't know what self-care was. So
you don't want to. Once depression sets in, you don't care. Like,
no.
You're just like, I'm just going to hang out here in my blanket and watch Netflix for 6 months. I'm good.
Oh, yeah. It's really strange. Well, one of the unique things is that from me going and writing my guidebook and everything for veterans was I found out how many different other social groups that it applies to. Right now, I got working with the union in Rhode Island, the firefighters union. They want to transcribe it for firefighters.
Nice.
Yeah, you can go to VetUnite.org and you can go and look at it. It's pretty basic things, but the people that I know that I trust, and they looked at it and it goes, Mike, you just wrote down what we're all trying to do, and it was shocking that no one had written it down before.
But it's needed, and we're visual people in the military. Let's be honest. We checklists for everything. So Melissa, I know I've been yapping my gums forever. Sorry about that. I know you just popped on. Do you want to start us off with the first question?
Oh, please. The first question. Yes, let's get to it. Hi, Mike. Sorry about that. I had to switch to this iPad and figure it out. All right. So, Mike, thank you for being on. I am Melissa Palacios. So nice to meet you. And our first question is, what would you say to someone who doesn't understand the importance of mental health and self-care?
If they don't understand it, I usually poll them and see what they do. What have they ever done? What is their preconceived notions of what it is? I had an idea. I thought it was, and I had gone to a therapist before when I was married. And what I encountered at the vet centers was total 180 from what I had experienced before. And I always thought it was someone was just supposed to, you could tell your problems to. And I always thought, what was the use of doing this? But when I got a diagnosis, and then they said they laid out a plan for me. And I was like, okay, great. And I go, what's my expectation? They go, Mike, you're going to get better. To a certain level, you're going to get better. And I was like, all right, this is cool. I'm not just going to waste my time here. So again, to go into self-care is mental health is a part of self-care.
Yes.
So in a lot of things, okay, here's the one thing that I write in the guide is there's many misconceptions. Okay. The military teaches us to be self-reliant. They use all these buzzwords and self-sufficient and solve your own problems and do it yourself. What we don't realize is when we're in the military is we have a huge support system that's behind us. Everything from a simple thing like going to the post office or, going to travel or whatever. It's all located in a little community. Like I just found out recently that the post office boxes at the post office are open after the post office closes. So I had my post office box in town that I just got had mail piled up for weeks because I couldn't get over there during the week. So I didn't realize that you could go over there. It's simple stuff like that. Whereas me going from a teenager to an adult, I didn't understand that. How does that tie into self-care and all that stuff? It's that you get taken the time to learn the new skills that you may need to function, especially if you're single.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I say this: you have a young girl, a young woman or a young man at mom's dinner table, 19 years old. They go in the service for 4 years. They come home and they go back, and they haven't acquired those skills that most civilians will regularly just pick up because they just don't. They require a whole different set of skill sets. So understanding that goes into trying to understand the culture, your own culture, being from the military, and also to adapting to civilian life. Now, put PTSD, a divorce, or something in mixed with that. That's what happened to me. Now, my initial incident came in 1991. I'm 53 years old, and I had been years suffering with it. And then I did 2 tours to Iraq, and it just all exploded one day. So, and that's what it kind of inspired me. My friend's suicide, that, and trying to fill the gaps over the VA.
Yes.
Education. That's what I said. I said the main part that's missing from the whole thing is education. There's a disconnect between the service providers and the veterans who need the services. We need to bring those two together. Yep. So we have a thing in our organization we call assess and refer. If I can pick to you a la carte what's going to best serve you, and you tell me what you want, then we can work together and find the goal. Because no matter what you want to pick to do, there's some sort of service out there for veterans that's going to help you, if that's what you want to do. Yeah. I mean, I just recently got cranial stimulation. Yeah. I had that done as a pilot program for the VA on Providence. The neuropsychologist.
So you're a test dummy? I'm just kidding.
Oh my God! Listen, wait till you try it. It's amazing.
Is it like getting the back of your eyeballs?
No. What are you watching too much TV or something?
What is the brain? What is that?
What is they used to use like magnets and stuff, he told me. Okay. But it's just these little probes they put around your head that stimulate different parts of your brain. So when you have, like, it was like a VR thing where you wear the goggles and everything, and the whole platform was on shook and everything, like the engine, because I did a lot of work on the roads in Iraq.
Oh, so did it kind of take you back to like?
Yeah, and they had explosions and gunfire and everything. And
to see how you would react.
It's like EMDR almost, sort of.
Well, I had EMDR. I've tried everything because I wanted to get better so desperately. I did EMDR. It was amazing. I would take EMDR, mindfulness, meditation, and that electro-digital clicky thing in your brain that they did. Amazing. And pretty good considering what I was 5 years ago, because I was a hot mess.
You're like a rage machine and you don't realize it.
Oh, well, I was mad and dangerous too. I'm lucky I didn't go something, we all know some guy, buddy of ours, that just couldn't control the rage and got in a lot of trouble.
Absolutely. And that's why we try to get so much information about different treatments. That's why I've written about alternative therapies as well for PTSD, like ketamine infusion therapy, flotation therapy, alpha stimulator therapy as well.
All that stuff. I would say the most beneficial to me, because it was a lifestyle change, and I took meditation seriously. Mm-hmm. I had a civilian guy that hypnotized me, and I was shaking. I was what do they call it? Compulsive crying. I just had tears in my eyes. I kept crying, and I walked out of his office, and I was not shaking anymore. And I said, "What did you do to me?" And he told me. So I just took the ball and ran with it.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
What are some examples for you of self-care that, like, as far as you speaking on PTSD, what are some examples that you would give advice or refer to other veterans that are dealing with PTSD?
Try everything. Try everything. Because you don't know what's going to work for you.
Right. You don't know what you like until you try.
Yeah. And there's so much stuff out there.
Yes.
I mean, you can get a service dog. You can, learn how to make baseballs or whatever it is, or tie flies or whatever it is. Learn fly fishing.
Yep.
A lot of the hunting stuff north of us is big. There's 2 big ranches up here. The one in Pennsylvania, like I mentioned, the Camp Freedom, and there's 2 more up north, one in New Hampshire, one in Maine, that's dedicated just to veterans. So try everything. You might find something. I have a buddy of mine that helped. He was a city kid, which was really funny, and he was one of my gunners. He's in Wisconsin now. He works on a farm. So he went from a city kid to a farm boy. That's where his path led him in a career. He drives stuff in between farms and stuff, does a lot of transporting.
I know a lot of veterans, the number one thing they stick to is like working out too. Just because you're like releasing, like getting it out, and just, I mean, I know for myself, I just started getting back into the gym, and Oh, especially if I'm like adding heavy weights, like I just feel so good afterwards.
Yeah. Good. One of our guys we work with, he just went back to the gym too.
It's great, and like you said, like self-care. Like to me, that's self-care. I found a
Whatever it
gym.
is to you, yeah.
Yeah, I found a gym with a sauna, and that's nice.
The sauna.
That's great. I'm in such a great mood when I come back.
Riding like me, one of my therapies is riding motorcycles. I kind of hate the word therapy because all right, wind therapy. Okay. I get on my motorcycle and I ride. If I'm feeling bummed out, I just ride. And if I'm feeling bummed out and it's too cold in Massachusetts, I hook my trailer up and I go south till it's warm enough to ride.
Nice.
I'm lucky.
I actually need to have a custom bike built so I can ride because I can't pick up my left foot to shift. So I need to get a was it an air shift or a suicide shift? But they
I
say
can make that for you.
Wait.
I can adapt a regular bike for it.
Yeah, because I really don't want a suicide shift. Like no.
No.
So no.
It's too much. I got a suicide shift on one of my bikes. It's not for going anywhere.
You have a zombie leg. I don't need help.
I'll shoot you some pictures of the bikes I have.
Nice. And honestly, that's pretty cool that you work with bikes. When I was running for Miss Veteran America, that's what I worked with a lot of different organizations. When I would sell my flowers, I made origami flowers with a bendable wire stem. So the old ladies could loop it on their bags when they rode. So like when they would do their church, they would stop through and like they would bring their old ladies some flowers. It's always cute. I was like that.
What about you? Motorcycles?
I've always wanted to ride one, but I haven't.
What?
I rode it on the back once, and my brother almost killed me.
Nah.
Lesson learned: if you're gonna ride, put the visor down, because I didn't, and he went real, and I promise you, my head I almost fell off the motorcycle because the visor was up.
No.
That was the first and last time, but I would love like a fast one. But I have my son now, so I was like, I'll get a 3-wheeler. Is that okay? Is that considered a motorcycle?
Who cares?
I want to get one with like the little
these people that make all this fuss about these different motorcycles, that it's purple and green and it's mismaking that. No. Know what I say? I say you don't ride as much as I do, so you have nothing to say. So if I see someone on a Vespa, I always give them a thumbs up. I'm like, nice. You're doing more than most.
You're trying.
Yeah. I had a 82 Yamaha was my first. Suzuki was my first bike. I didn't care. I loved it. My dad gave it to me.
You got to start small though. You can't start huge. Like always, people want to get these giant crotch rockets at first. I'm like, no, start with like the 60, 80 cc. See how that goes. Learn to shift, and go from there.
Learn how to ride. Take a class. I took a class. It was incredible.
Yeah, learning the handle is important.
And also too is safety. I see these people riding and I just cringe. But I have almost 200,000 miles on 2 wheels and never had an accident. And I used to think that I was lucky. And then my friends say, "No, Mike, you're just militant about wearing gear and being safe and staying away from dangerous roads." You know?
Smart.
Yeah. Well, I like riding. I don't want to fall off.
That's fair. Especially like all these long country roads you're riding, if you're doing those miles, like those are dusty old country roads. Like they're not like super nice interstates and highways always.
Depends though. Sometimes those roads are better. Like if you get near the city, people they're so focused on going where they're going, you know, that you're secondary to them. But usually I go around the cities.
Okay. Yeah. I know we have a few more questions.
Okay.
So one that Brandy has here for us to ask you is, why is mentorship more, sorry, I just had like a whole little voice. Why is mentorship more effective in your program than other methods?
Well, most programs don't do a mentorship. So most service providers provide that service, equine or, basket weaving, whatever it is that you have. Not many organizations interfere unless there's a real desperate, if they're big trouble.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we try to do is we try to even get the guys before they have a problem. and just be their friend. And then they say, well, I got PTSD. I want to do something about it. Well, great. We got 6 steps that you can follow. You can do it written down, or you can just do it between somebody else. And we'll just talk about doing that stuff. Most organizations don't really offer full mentorship. Some do, but not many.
And
or if they do, they don't have a program that's publicly available.
I can see how that's going to continue to be successful because number one, you're giving the people you're helping, who you're servicing, a fact that you're relatable, number one. And that's what the person needs, is somebody to be able to relate to. And even with business, the people whoever you're advertising to, whoever your audience, right? Like, you need to be able to relate. And if you can't relate and you're just offering a service, I mean, then
you miss it.
You can get the money, but you're not going to get that comeback, or you're not going to get that referrals and things like that.
The rapport.
And one of the key things too is, and we're talking about what we offer that others don't, is also too is we're not in competition with any other organization. We actually go into organizations that are run by civilians and actually teach them how to relate to veterans. That's awesome. Then we offer them, they can actually adopt our guide and go ahead and use that to mentor a veteran. And then we'll assist them as like a backup if they get stuck. And that way we're producing a force multiplier by this guide. You can teach the teacher, train the trainer kind of stuff, and just keep it rolling forever. So I think that's key. I think that's key. Instead of trying to hold the knowledge in, a lot of people hold their knowledge in, where we say if we find something out, we blast it out to everyone that we can. And then what's great about that is a lot of people go, Mike, have you heard about this? And I'm like, nope, put it on our page. And we put it up on our page.
But that's cool that you're getting the information out there, because veterans, unfortunately, they don't share information.
They're not great communicators. I mean, I came from not only the military, but I also came from a business consulting background. So, and sales and stuff like that. So I had those key things, and, I just applied them to it. And the thing with the VA and with the government, and this is just how I explain it to veterans, they're like, how come this stuff is so hard to find? And I says, because there's nothing in their budget for education. There's no class. I mean, they used to do TSP or whatever that class was when you got out. It was a joke. When I got out off active duty 25 years ago, I didn't even have one when I retired.
Really?
And nope. Oh, they messed up. I should have had it, but they didn't. But it doesn't offer anything. And I actually go into returning units that return, and I actually go and talk to them and just say, well, here's the only thing you have to remember my email, my phone number. Just call me. I'll offer you and steer you in the right direction. But I also don't try to hoard that veteran as a resource. If I find that there's an organization that's better going to serve this veteran, I gladly go, please go here. You're going to have a much better time. They'll be able to service you, especially the guy's going to go away for a few weeks and chill out. Because we can't do that. But there's plenty of places that they can do that.
Well, it's good that they have that out there, just information. Yeah,
we have a thing we're working on right now. We got a new guy that just came on our board, and there's just so many different databases out there, and we're trying to tie them all together. And there is so much stuff out there. It's absolutely amazing. And I see a veteran sometimes, they get frustrated, like, I can't get anything done. And I said, whoa, hold on. What are you looking for? Great. Then my eyes roll back in my head, and like I said, I'm booting up my computer, and I'll split something out to them and just say, hey, let me go back and find out some more information on what you're looking for.
But it's good that you have that follow through too, because a lot of people, especially nonprofits, they say, yeah, let me get back to you. And then when it's on a fundraiser, you don't hear from them, and then veterans discouraged, and they don't want to reach out to any other organizations, and they need help.
The thing I say about that is a two-way street, because the accountability that a veteran has for a person that offers to help them is much higher than any other transaction that you can think about. When the person's in need and the person says, I'm going to help you, you have to take that request much more. That's what we teach in our civilians. So our civilians, you have to treat that as a promise. That's a promise that you're making to that guy or that lady, because they might have reached out 5 times and no one had said anything to them, or they said, "I'll get back to you," or "I'll talk to you later," and they never do. So if you have to cut back on the number of people you help, you're better off than trying to spread yourself too thin. Because I only help 3 veterans at a time myself, and I kind of got the whole thing down. I designed the system, but I can't take any more than 3 because I can't service them.
Well, you're mentoring them too, as well, correct?
Yeah. It could be anything from, they got problems at home, to one guy we just helped. He was homeless, and he was on the right track already, but we helped him out. And we told him about all the, tweaks and stuff like that of the system. He still didn't have a PTSD claim. How to get his he had something to do with his discharge. He got to get fixed because they changed that law, and he got with the executive order, and he didn't even know about it. Yeah. So those kind of things help out a lot. And then also too, I always say I have subject matter experts. Like if a veteran says, "I really need help with my claim," I said, "I know the best guy in the country to do claims for you." Awesome. Or if I have they want to get Social Security. A lot of veterans that, I'll put this out if they listen to this, if you're 100% or your IU, individual unemployability, you pretty much should be signed up for Social Security as SSDI. And that was probably one of the biggest ways I helped in the beginning, was just making sure they could get both. And go back to for Social Security, I have a lady, she's the best in the country. I'm not going to even try to figure out how to do that. I do best when I'm on the ground helping veterans. So let the experts do the expert stuff. Assess her. Yeah.
And what's the biggest hurdle a veteran would have with mentorship, or does PTSD ever play a factor?
Believing that someone is actually going to help them. That's probably my biggest struggle, is convincing them that I am going to help you. I take it seriously. I am my brother's keeper. I made a bond. I swore oath to the Constitution of the United States, to all enemies, foreign and domestic, and unwritten in there is that I'm my brother's keeper. And once they find out that you're for real, the dynamic changes dramatically.
That
way, all these promises. Go here, do this, do that. And they're like running around and like, why am I doing all this stuff? And no one explains it to them, or whatever their thing that's going around in their head. When you tell them, I'm going to be there for you. I am your brother. I'm your brother. I treat you like my brother, but I also expect the same thing in return. Don't blow me off. Don't, my time's just as valuable as everybody else's. Accountability, because they're not used to being accountable either. When I get ones that are really in rough shape, those guys aren't accountable to anybody. But I've walked into a building where there's been 20 veterans, they all could use some sort of services, and I'll be lucky if I get two veterans that actually approach and say, I want to participate in something like this. What do I have to do?
We get scared.
Say again?
We get scared. We hear the stories like, well, what if I fight my claim and I lose it, or it goes down, or it diminishes? I don't want to be like that guy.
Well, we also got to remember is we did the same thing in the military. Whatever you hear from other people, it's probably not true.
Yeah. And
if you haven't been to the VA within the last 12 to 24 months, you haven't been to the VA.
Yeah.
I like it now when I can tell these older Vietnam guys, my father's era guys, and go, you need to go back. It's amazing. Yeah. The treatment I get is amazing. I also put it against, you're always frustrated with healthcare, but I juxtaposed it against, I need a scan or something. And I asked my civilian friends, hey, when you got your knee scanned, how long did that take? Oh, it took like 4 months. I had to go to physical therapy and workman's comp and all that. I said, oh, great. I got mine in 4 days. I Kent Hospital, and say I go to Providence. I'm in Mass, but I go to Providence because it's closer. Okay. Kent Hospital, the guys that all work on the New England Patriots come over 2 days a week and work on the veterans.
Really?
They do it. They don't have to do it. They do it. That's per diem and stuff. And they send all the young kids over and they get trained, and they're awesome. They're incredible.
They're learning on us. You know that.
Huh?
they're learning on us.
Yeah, I say, why do you like it? They said, you guys have unusual pathology. I go, what does that mean? And they said, you guys' bodies are really messed up when you're young. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they said that our bodies, definitely infantrymen, are worse off than professional football players.
Oh yeah.
And I never realized it. I was like, oh my God, really? Yeah.
Okay, random fact. I heard an ad because I really don't listen to like the car radio, but there was a doctor, a foot doctor, and he's like, you should be getting your feet checked every 3 months. I was like, I don't even know when the last time I got my feet checked, but I could just imagine like being on your feet, working all the time, like. So yeah, sorry, that was random.
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, the other thing too is you got two types of veterans. You got the ones that complain all the time; they actually get service, and they're the ones that don't complain all the time. And if you like, for the longest time, I went to the doctors. I didn't know I could tell them what was really wrong with me. It was weird. It's like, is anything else wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna take notes next time. So then next time I gotta add a list of things that, like, can I get podiatry? Oh, I can. Okay, glasses. Oh, great.
Yeah.
So
there is a lot of things that are offset.
Pretty incredible. Yeah.
So are you going to do a speaking tour with the new book release? Are you going to do like a VFW tour? Any plans?
Yeah, I'm going to start reaching out. I mean, I'll even San Antonio knows all my stops. I'm going to do probably an East Coast run this summer.
Okay.
I'm putting it together now. But I'm going to do preliminary runs where I'm just going to talk about the concepts of what's going on and then reschedule and come back later.
Okay.
I want to do like a half day for the guide, the book. That's only half a day. And the other day do suicide intervention training, which I think is critical. And you can use that in any venture you're trying to do.
That's so important. It's not talked about enough.
It's not talked about, but I had 2 sets of training that were done and it was excellent. It's excellent.
Yeah, we had Portia Williams come on and she was talking about what she does as far as suicide prevention as well. And like I said, it just is not talked about enough. There's not enough organizations that really teach it or I guess work with veterans so they know how to recognize signs. I mean, like I said, it's something that it really is needed. And you were talking about like a repository to try to get veteran organizations more together. Is there something maybe in the works?
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is on a small scale or a bigger scale, we did it a couple times already, but then COVID hit. Is we would go and we do it in Dallas. We did it in Dallas for 2 years, and then COVID hit. As we'd bring all the organizations together under the collaboration with the state mental health and veteran services. So we're probably going to fire that back up too. COVID kind of just, the in-person stuff's pretty much gone. But the thing is that the collaboration between the nonprofits doesn't exist either. So whatever we see as a whole, that's what VetUnite tries to fill that hole. It's part of our mission statement to collaborate with other nonprofits and help them work together. A lot of them don't know they exist.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it takes someone like us, us people who are we're in the public, forward in the public, to go, hey, or you talk to those people. Like I had some people with one organization say, we're really struggling with this. And I said, well, this other organization over there can fill that gap for you.
Yeah. And they probably had no idea. They're probably like, what, really?
No.
Like, I didn't know they existed.
We get stuck in our little wheelhouse where my wheelhouse or the public access. See, one of the things I decided to do was to become to the forefront of this. I went public with my demons because my friend had killed himself. And I was considered the tough guy too. And I said, no, I'm tapping out. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm suffering. I have been for years. So that's the thing. We are doing this right now. We're on the forefront of it. We've only begun. This is only the beginning.
Yeah. And
bring these organizations together to serve veterans.
Well, there's going to be more of a need coming up as well. I mean,
I really think so.
Not enough care. I mean, really, I think it's going to add up. I think a lot of veterans are going to have that overwhelming need.
Yeah, there's different cycles that it went through. And post-deployment, I call it the 18-month window.
Mm-hmm.
But 18 months out of the window, I'll get 3 or 4 guys from a deployment from our state that'll say, hey, I need services. I need help.
Really?
Okay, great. And then there's these different phases, like 18 months, 2 years, 24 months. You know what I mean? I'm 24, same thing, but 3 years out. Because I'm coming up on another cycle right now. It's
Really?
but they all know my name now. See, in my group, they all know who I am. So
Oh,
everybody,
you did it now. They know who you are.
yeah, they know who I am. They know Mike's. Oh, I heard. Hey, the latest guy we helped, he's about 20 minutes from me. A guy I served in the Marine Corps in the 90s was talking to him online because they were talking about Boston baseball or whatever. He was a homeless veteran. My friend who gave me his number is in Australia, and he gave me a guy who was 20 minutes from my house, and I helped him.
Wow.
Yeah. He goes, Mike, I'm not sure what you do, but I know you do stuff with veterans. Can you help my buddy out? I'm like, yeah, sure. That's funny. They just know that I'm the big mouth now.
It's funny, like when you become a veteran advocate, how you get referred veterans, or they were like, well, I was told to call you, but I don't know what you do. And you're like, well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? Melissa, did you have any more questions? I'm sorry, we're rambling on.
No.
So did you want to maybe have any final thoughts, or is there any upcoming events that you want us to know about, or web pages?
Well, I wanted to talk about the last step in the book.
Okay.
And the last step of the book it's probably the most important, but you can't do it until you do the other steps, and which is define a new purpose.
Yeah.
One of the definitions of success is that you have the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream or goal. And there's nothing better than being on a team that you have a goal that you're trying to acquire. Your unit in the military is basically what it is. And I see a lot of people that go, not just people in general, but veterans. They've now, this is a joke. I'll never be this cool again, right? They go from this high responsibility occupation and they go back to civilian world. And their potential is never fully met because they cannot find a team.
Yeah.
So you have to define a new purpose for your life, because your purpose before was so high. It was morally for good, and it was a valuable goal, and you were part of a team and all that stuff. You have to reestablish that, find out what it is. And you know what? It could take the rest of your life, but as long as you know in your back of your mind, I need to find a new purpose with my life.
Yeah.
It's critical.
And
you
I
found
think
yours.
Depression comes from too, I think.
Yes.
That's where you feel that you're
Direction.
not. Yeah.
It's not really. Dr. Jonathan Shea was one guy I followed. He says it's not really depression in the sense. It says it's despair. And I thought that was very powerful, and it was how I felt. I felt despair. What am I going to do? Well, how am I worth anything? Where's my self-worth? And part of finding a new goal and finding a new purpose helps you reestablish those things. And it's not finding out what it is, and it's not completing it. It's searching for it is the key.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you feel? How better do you feel now that you know your purpose?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still trying to figure mine out. I'll be honest. I do wild stuff. If you follow,
you're on your journey though.
But yeah, absolutely. For me, I was a medic. I mean, my heart and soul was in being a medic, and teaching other people to be good medics, because I knew I was very good at what I did, and I wanted other people to come get me in the ambulance knowing the same as I did. So for me, it was very difficult going from, being lauded by a 3-star general to being told I was a disgrace and a POS every day because I was in a brace and a wheelchair, so it was a very difficult realization. So for me, it took a long time of, being able to physically come to grips with where I was, mentally to do that, which is not easy to do, even if it's that by itself. Absolutely. And then just trying to have confidence to be around other people. Like for me, I have severe anxiety around people because I was told so much crazy stuff, and people threatened to like beat me and stuff for so long. Like I really avoided people. So that was an experience for me as well. But I think a lot of times it's building your confidence enough to even find a new dream or to find a new sense of purpose. For me, it was when I ran for Miss Veteran America. Like I had no idea what Cannonball Run and Melissa and I were on, but it was basically like the Hunger Games for professional women. It's not like, I'm Pretty Princess. It wasn't like that at all. And it really made me test myself and push myself in ways I hadn't in a long time. And I think when we become disabled, sometimes we get complacent and angry in the hands we're given, and we don't want to push ourselves to really test what we can do. And so for me, I didn't want to drag my zombie ass leg down the runway. So I had to really work physical therapy. I had to have a custom brace made. And I actually snuck the head videographer from Black Rifles in as my caregiver so he could video it, but it didn't exist. And so when the brace was finished, it looked so good, no one noticed. But for me, I know it took me 8 months. But, for me being able to do that and be on that journey, it really opened my eyes to the needs of others. I can be pissed off and having PTSD and be angry all day and justified to do it. But am I helping my brothers and sisters that need that help with the resources I have?
Critically important. Another step in the book. Mm-hmm. You have to give back, whether it's giving back, it's fuel for the soul, whether you're giving, the local community center, you have to give back. You have a lot to offer, especially as a veteran. Yep. We have these skills, we can get along with anybody. That is an incredible skill that we learned,
Yep. Sleeping, standing up, that's also important.
What?
Sleeping, standing up, that's also important.
Yes, that's a mad skill too. Yep.
Critical life.
I cannot stand being in the rain though anymore. I refuse. I will not get rained on anymore.
Sugar melts in the rain. Okay, let him know.
You think I'm not made of sugar though?
I am. I said sugar melts.
I'm bad cop. You're a good cop.
Okay.
But no, I get it. Absolutely, it's definitely something that you don't really think about. But thank you for coming on tonight. We definitely
appreciate it.
Sorry about the tech issues we're having here tonight.
Yes.
We usually have a lot more engagement, but definitely we're happy to have you come on anytime. We'll most certainly post you the link. Melissa, you said it was .org, correct? VetUnite.org?
VetUnite.org.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out. There's some cool stuff.
Yeah, I was looking at your webpage, and honestly, your book is pretty sweet on the outside too. Like, it's a great read. It's a good checklist, and it's pretty awesome. It looks like something you'd want to have on your table, to like intimidate the mailman if they're acting up or something.
Yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be released, and then I'm going to be out sludging it on the side of the road for everybody. But
that guy.
That'll be good, and I'll get you a copy.
Aw, we would love that.
And honestly. I'll be in touch. It's both of you
so
ladies.
Nice speaking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we definitely have some events planned coming up. We're just trying to get organization breeding cats, basically. But yes, definitely.
They're all going to be in Texas, though, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to get you in Texas. This is Military City, sir.
Don't call me sir. I work for a living. Well, if we find out what the dates are, then I can mesh them in mine.
Okay, for sure.
I'd love to come. I'll wear my kilt and maybe I'll ride my motorcycle. If I got time, I'll take the bike out. Did you see the motorcycle?
Yes. Jealous.
Okay. So just so the viewers know, I painted it desert tan, and then I have a van that I tow it with that's desert tan. It's all painted up to look like our truck somewhere over there. So.
In Texas, they actually have a range where you can drive and fire tanks, right? It's in Uvalde. It's called Drive Tanks Range.
No, but I heard that you were going to invite me to that.
We went last year for the Soldier Girl coffee photo shoot, actually. We went on D-Day. So that was pretty wild. And it's an exotic game ranch, which is
nice.
Something to think about, yeah. Zebras, chilling.
Like unicorns and stuff you can shoot?
I mean, not unicorns, but I know there were some rhinos and giraffes. I don't know if you can shoot the giraffes, but I know there was zebras in there because I remember driving past them in the tank, which is wild. I was like, but yes, they had a little of everything. Kangaroos right next to us right when we walked out.
Nice.
My friend's like,
yeah, I didn't know about it. So after this, since we're going to suck up more airtime, after this, we got to get on the same page as that. I got to list that as one of my resources. I mean, geez, I could fire a tank. That would be
Reforged.org
awesome.
too. Definitely add that to your book. That's very important.
What is it?
Reforged.org.
Okay.
It's really good. Yeah, they run
Forged. My guy.
For sure. Definitely. I will give you some to add to your list and update. Like I said, you were saying as well, I mean, nonprofits are always changing. And unfortunately, sometimes there's that whole like wiener measuring thing where, unfortunately, nonprofits don't always align or speak with each other, and they should. And it's to the detriment of the veteran community, unfortunately. But absolutely, we'd love to have you back on, especially right when the book comes out. I mean,
that'd be cool.
Oh. Trina!
Shame.
They time it any better.
Pick my grandma's house.
Right. But okay, well, like I said, if anyone has any questions, I know that we may have had an issue with some of the platforms broadcasting, but if anyone does, please reach out to the Yes, I Am the Veteran podcast page. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have for Mike. And we will be having him come back on again soon. And then if you guys do have any questions or concerns regarding future episodes or podcasts, please let us know as well. And we will definitely be posting about the Women Veteran Concealed Carry course that we're going to be having on Saturday for women veterans here in San Antonio. So if you do know any veterans that are female, that are in the San Antonio area, that are available on the 19th, definitely have the message. We'll get them signed up, but they would need to do that today or tomorrow. That way we can get them on that list. And was I forgetting something else? Well, I'm sure I'll remember as soon as we end. But like I said, lots of events coming up. But if anybody has any questions or concerns, they need anything answered from us, please definitely reach out and let us know. We'll be happy to do that on a future episode. Oh, I remember now. So our podcast shirts are just about done. Yes. So we are going to be doing a limited time 3-week sale with Killfoot Clothing. And we are going to have 2 different shirts. They are female oriented, as it is Women Veteran History Month. But in the future, we will have shirts for the males, of course, guys. But we definitely wanted to do something a little bit different. We did team with OTF artist Cecilia, and she was one of our first guests, and she's amazing. And I am super thankful that she was able to do this for us because she is being featured in a museum right now. So I was thankful she had the time to come away and do such a wonderful drawing for us. But I can't wait to wear those shirts on air. And we will definitely be posting those links as well in the future. But that's all for us tonight, guys. Be good or be good at it. Have a good night. Be safe. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye. Bye.